Hey floss tube friends, I thought I would do a little bit of stitching today and bring you along with me. So what I am stitching today is Merry Mushroom Village. There's a picture there. Apologies for the glare. There we go. Merry Mushroom Village 1. It's the Haid Sal, and I finished the fourth page, which is on the far right, and I've decided to come down here, do the second page, down, first page to the left. As you can see, I started it already and thought I would continue. So let's see here. Thought I would bring you along with me, and I'm just going to set my iPad back in its case. I had to take it off of the stand in order for the camera to work, so bear with me for just a second. So how are you all doing? Hope everybody's having fun stitching, enjoying the weather, whatever it is for you. It's pretty flippin' hot here, so I've not done very much outside. Definitely not going outside these days. If I can help it, at least until the sun has set and it gets just a little bit cooler. Anyway, work just finished a little while ago and thought I would do a little bit of stitching. My cats are not here right now. They're both in the basement, I think, enjoying the cool down there. Our basement's about, I don't know, it seems like it's like 5 to 10 degrees cooler than upstairs for some reason. So I don't blame them, that's for sure. I have a funny story about the cats. So I have two Russian blues, Smoke and Ash. Smoke is the younger one. He just turned 1. Ash just turned 3. Both at the beginning of this month. So that was exciting. Sorry, I had to count there. So I was at work. I was at an all-day meeting yesterday, and I kept getting these urgent calls from my daughter. And at first, well, I didn't know they were urgent. She just kept calling me, and she can just call just to say hello. So I didn't answer the first couple of times. Then she called a couple more times. So I thought, well, okay, maybe something is wrong and I better answer. Well, she couldn't find Smoke. She said, I've searched everywhere in the entire house, can't find him. And I said, well, I know he's in the house because I fed him this morning before I left. And I was the last person to leave before my daughter. So, you know, unless she had let him out, there's no way he wasn't in the house. So she was calling him, went into every single room. I suggested she check out under my bed because he does like to hide under there sometimes. And sometimes he has his afternoon naps down there, so he'll be gone for hours at a time. There's one of those, my husband has one of those under the bed clothing thingamabobbers, storage things. They're very soft. It's soft-sided, and I just realized I messed up. It's soft-sided, and he squeezes himself between the top of that and the underside of my bed. I mean, cats do like to fit in small places, I guess, so that's not unusual. But anyway, she said she looked, she didn't find him. Now my cat's gray, so in the dark under the bed, it would be difficult to find him. So 15 minutes later, I called her back and I asked her whether she had, there we go, whether she had found him. And she had found him. She doesn't know still where he came out of, but how she got him out was by going to get the container of fish food for her fish and shaking it. So there's little pellets and turtle food, which my cat loves. So we've had to put everything in Tupperware containers, and even then, it's hard because he actually ate through a Tupperware container to get to the fish food. Silly boy. But anyway, so she shook the container and all of a sudden there he was. He came out. Anyways, I thought that was funny. But I also thought it was very ingenious of her to do that, because I wouldn't have thought of doing that, that's for sure. Oh, okay. Apparently I didn't thread that well. So yeah, so that was pretty funny. My other cat, he always comes when I call him. At least when I call him, not so much when the rest of my family calls him. Unless he's dead asleep, and then he sleeps like the dead. A freight train could go by, unless it's like a noise like a mouse or something unusual in our house, and then he wakes up. Anyways, so you can see here I am stitching cross country, just picking a color, and I want to I don't really want to save the color onto my Floss Monster. And Floss Monster, for those of you who don't know, is just one of these big floss the plastic floss organizers that I use for kitting up my projects. So I don't want to put it back on there. I just want to finish the thread, so that's why I'm just going as far as it will let me. I'm probably not the most, some people plan out their route for stitching. To make the most out of their floss. I'm terrible at that. I don't really care too much. I know that I'm probably wasting some floss that way, but I use CXC floss, which is pennies a skein pretty much, so don't worry about it too much. I always find that the end always gets a little bit fuzzy anyway. So I hope my hand's not in the way. I can't really see the screen from where I am. So what are you guys up to? You have any big plans for the weekend? Today's Thursday, so it's Thursday evening, the 20th. Today is the first day of summer, which is fantastic. I do love the summer, although spring I think is my favorite season. I just don't like temperature extremes. I find it very difficult to breathe and to get any exercise, or anything that's causes a lot of exertion just makes me want to pass out, which is not so good. So I don't know how these will go. Let me know what you think, whether you think I should do more of these Stitch With Me's. I'm just going to mark off what I've done because it's quite a bit. Yeah, let me know what you think, whether I should do more of these Stitch With Me's. I enjoy Stitch With Me's because, and I like long videos for kind of the same reason, because I can just have the video playing in the background and do my thing, whether that's work. But sometimes I'm working and I just have it on in the background so I can look up once in a while and see something pretty or interesting. And when I'm stitching, it's kind of the same thing. I really like having, I don't like having to change videos often, because that interrupts my stitching. So I like long videos for that reason, and Stitch With Me's tend to be fairly long, so they work that way. And I don't even pay attention to what the people are saying very much. I will, let me just see here. That one. One sec. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 3. That is not correct. Okay, let's do this one first. For the most part, people aren't talking about anything, super scientific or super important. They're talking about their lives and things that are going on. So you don't need to memorize what they're saying or anything, or pay super close attention to what they're saying. So I really enjoy that. So we'll see how this goes. What am I doing? So this is going to be one of the problems for me, is figuring out just making sure I can talk and stitch at the same time. Okay, so I did all those. That's those ones. And then we came here, and those are wrong. I thought I was one block above. So this is the problem with trying to, talk and stitch at the same time. Having to look away from my screen means that I sometimes lose my place. So it's not that one. It's that one. 2, skip 1, do 1. Yeah, so what else is going on? Work's been very busy. My role is changing again. So I was off for 2.5 years. For anyone who hasn't watched my videos before, I was off work for 2.5 years. I had, due to some health issues that were pretty significant. And I came back. I finally was able to come back to work, but my specific position I wasn't able to get my specific position back because they had already sort of moved on. My LTD was such that they had to keep my position for a period of 2 years, but I was away for more than 2 years. So they didn't have to keep that specific position. They just had to give me a comparable one that is in my wheelhouse, right? So I've been doing some different things, and finally we're getting to the point where I will actually have my official final, not final as in, I'm going to leave, but just my official position, I guess, because until now I've sort of been doing work that should be done by other directors, other groups, but everybody's super busy, so they haven't been able to. So because I was just coming back, and I'm very experienced in all of the things that they needed done, it was the perfect opportunity to get me to get those projects done and underway, so get things underway so that it wasn't just being done off the side of someone's desk, whenever they sort of had time, which was never. So I got quite a few things done that way, which is fantastic for the corporation. But it's not something that I want to do. I don't want make work projects for the rest of my career. I wanted to actually have something within my own sphere of influence, I guess, my own responsibility center. And so that is finally coming. So I'm just, the official turnover date will be second week of July, because part of what, essentially my position is a new position within the company, but it is work. Part of it is work that is being done by another group, so it's going to be carved off of that group, and part of it is going to be brand new. And my boss just wanted to have a little bit of time to be able to talk to the person that is dealing with that group at the moment, and sort of let them know what's been happening and where things are going. So yeah, so the official change will be second week of July. It's supposed to be the first week, but I'm on vacation the first week of July, so there was no point in me taking on a new position and the first week being on vacation, right? That would be really stupid. So yeah, so I'm excited. Will be new. Still work within my wheelhouse. I'm just threading my needle here with my next color. Still work within my wheelhouse, which is fantastic. It's going to be very, very busy, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm also very much looking forward to my vacation, which is going to be for a week. So I took a week off. I'm taking the week of July 1st off. So July 1st in Canada is a holiday. It's Canada Day weekend. I think Canada Day is Monday, so we get that day off. Anyways, and then I took right until Friday off. So I'll be at the cottage from the Friday before Canada Day until the Sunday the week after. So I'm so looking forward to it. The cottage, or cabin as some people call it, that aren't in Ontario, tend to call their getaway places cabins, I guess, is on a lake It's like access. It's beautiful. It's my happy place. I could easily just live there. My husband probably not. He would be great being there for, a week at a time. But he's an extrovert. He's very much an extrovert, so he needs lots of social interaction. But so I won't be by myself at the cottage. We'll be with some other friends. So I have a couple of other. There's 2 other couples, and they have kids that are much younger than ours. Skip 3. And for the first time ever, all 4 of their kids are going to be, so that's 2 kids per couple, are going to be at different camps, like week-long camps. And so we thought, well, let's do an adult-only weekend at the cottage, which we haven't done in years because of, obviously we have kids. So that's what we're doing. So it's gonna be great just to have nothing to worry about, no stress. We'll eat when we feel like eating, and not having to worry about the kids or bedtimes or anything like that. So maybe I'll film from there at some point. We'll see. We'll see. My friends don't really know that I do a floss tube. And it's not that I'm hiding it from them, but I don't know. I think they would judge me, and I just don't feel like dealing with it. I hope you guys aren't shaking. I feel... So you're currently clamped to my stand. And, okay, I did those already. Okay. Just one missing right here. Yeah, so my stand is a, what's it called? Needlework System 4 stand. And I really love it. It closes down really compact. It fits a wide variety of Q-snaps. I have the Q-snap attachment. I don't have the attachment that will fit like the Natter tubes. Although I should try it. I don't know if it would work on this. Probably not. Which is fine. Most of the time I just use my Q-snaps anyways. So I'm happy doing that. I'll probably bring this with me just because it's so much easier. I really like stitching two-handed, and I can do it while holding my Q-snap at the same time. I just kind of balance the Q-snap on my forearm, but it's not the most comfortable thing to do. And I end up hunched over, which is not great for my back. So having the stand hold it for me is much better. I can sit up straight, not hunch over, and I can stitch with both hands unencumbered without the awkwardness of trying to hold the Q-snap at the same time. Just gonna mark off what I've got. So, like I said, I'm working on Merry Mushroom Village 1. And I'm working on the second page of the second installment. So there's, I guess, 3 pages, right? Yeah, they sent us 3 pages. And I finished, the first page was over here at the top right of the first row. So I'm working on the second page. The next round of pages comes on July 1st, I think. And there's no way I'm going to have 2 pages completed by then, which is absolutely fine. I have worked out that I can get this project 100% complete by the end of the year if I do 1,000 stitches a week, which is doable. Although sometimes I just don't feel like it, which sucks, because then what happens is I get behind, and then that 1,000 becomes a higher number. So I had been under 1,000, and then 2 weeks ago I only did 345 stitches because I started something new. And I was so much more excited to start that new thing that I just put this down. And, you know, also I was at the point, so I was working on that page over there, and I was at the point where it was just confetti, having to change my floss every 5 or 6 stitches. And so it was taking hours and hours to get, you know, just a few hundred stitches. So, which is fine. I'm not going to stress. So this is, for those of you who don't know, Heaven and Earth Designs did on January 1st started a stitch along. So they offered 10 patterns that you could pick from, and you stitch on whatever pattern you chose. And there is an incentive to get these projects completed, or at least quite a bit completed. So if you complete 4 full pages by the end of the year, then you will receive all 10 of the charts that were the options for the stitch along, which I think is very generous of Heaven and Earth Designs. And if you, I'm just going to mark off what I've got here. If you complete the entire project by the end of this year, then not only do you get those other 9 patterns plus yours, but you also get to choose 2 patterns off of Heaven and Earth Designs website, any 2 patterns you want. And so it would be, you know, it'd be great. I'm aiming for one of those 2 things. Originally, I need more floss here. 315. Originally I was aiming for the entire thing, and then I kept flip-flopping, thinking maybe I would do just the 4 pages. And finally where I've landed is that I'm not going to worry about it. I'm gonna stitch as much as I feel like stitching. If I feel like getting the whole 1,000 stitches a week done, then I'll do that. And if I don't, then I won't. But I am going to just continue to keep working on it because I do like this picture. So and it would be nice to have a finish. So that's what I'm doing. So one or the other. I do want one or the other. I don't know. Heaven and Earth Designs has enough of my money. It would be nice to get a prize. But it's not, you know, whatever. It's not it's not like, well, you know, winning $1,000 or $1 million or something. It's just a couple of charts, and let's be honest, I have a ton of charts. Are you guys working on this, on the Heaven and Earth design cell? If not, what are you working on? I'd love to hear. Leave me a note in the comments. I am surprised that so far I'm able to, I was going to say walk and talk, but stitch and talk, I guess. Okay, what else can I tell you? So I am, for those of you who haven't seen any of my videos before, I have a lot of whips. I have, I believe it's under 50. It is under 50 because I have all of my whips listed on my little magnetic tags on my magnet board, which is in front of me, sort of behind you guys at the moment. And I have 50 of those, and I still have some blank ones. So I currently definitely have less than 50. And I have finished a couple things this year, which I'm super excited about. The one I was the most excited about was the tarot stitch along from Witch's Garden Crafts. I really love it. And I started that, actually, funny story. A couple of years ago, so this was during COVID, I guess, or like at some point once the big panic was over and things were starting to open up again, I actually did a tarot fair, a psychic fair, where I read tarot cards for people, and oh my god, it was so much fun. It was a ton of fun. Just the energy in the room, like, it was just so much fun. If you ever get to do one or go to one, check it out, because it's really quite interesting. There's not just, you know, tarot reader. There was also hypnotists, which I was dying to try. I haven't done. People who do Reiki, people who did special massages that involved, you know, different modalities, or spiritual modalities. Anyways, it was a ton of fun, and I was stitching this. I started this there. 2, 3. On one day, I think the first evening, the weather was really, really, really horrible, and so it was kind of dead. The next day definitely made up for it. So I got a little bit of stitching done, and you know, here I am. I'm reading tarot, but I'm also stitching something that was tarot related. And people had a lot of fun seeing that unfold as well. 2, 5. I still don't have it framed. I have to do that. I have to go out one day and go to Michael's and see what they offer. I just haven't gotten around to it. I have a few finishes that I have to fully finish. But the part I really like is stitching, so I haven't been super excited about going and getting frames done. Where am I? Almost lost my place there. Or I did temporarily. So 1, 2. I have opened up. So when I was off, I had to close down my tarot business because I couldn't do anything. I was just in pain 24/7 and dizzy and nauseous, and I had to learn how to walk again, believe it or not, because I couldn't walk a straight line. Everything was blurry, double vision. My heart rate was going through the roof with just a really short walk or climbing, a set of steps. Anyways, won't bore you with that, but suffice it to say that I wasn't in any shape to do anything. Never mind read tarot cards. So I had to close down my website. 2, 3, 4. And now that I'm back at work full time, things are not 100% better yet. I'm still going to vision therapy. I still have some issues, but it's 1,000 times better than it was 2 years ago. So I'm very thankful for that. But anyway, so now that things are getting back on track, I opened my website again. So I'm enjoying that. If anybody would like a tarot reading, my website is tarotbynature.com. Let's check it out. Let's see here. I am enjoying my kitty cats. My dog as well, but he's very barky at times, and it goes through my head. I have chronic migraines, and his bark goes through my head like a jackhammer. So that's very frustrating. But my kitty cats just never fail to make me laugh. They're entertaining. They're just funny. They have such different personalities as well. I'm going to take a sip of my drink. What else have I been doing? I've been knitting. My knitting bug is finally coming back. I've knit a few pairs of socks now. Just to give you a little bit of context, before I got sick, I was knitting probably a pair a week or a pair every 2 weeks, depending on how much time I had available. I always have a pair of socks on the needles, and I always carry, or at least one set of socks on the needles. And I generally have more than one pair on the go, at least 2 or 3 pairs. I actually have several pairs on the needles right now. I like to do things differently. So just like with stitching, we try different things. We try cross country, we try the Royal Rose, we try parking, try diagonal. We try all kinds of different things just for the fun of it, to try something different, keep it interesting and fresh. Well, it's the same thing with knitting. So you can knit socks a variety of different ways with different types of needles, circular needles, double pointed needles. There's a set of 3 needles, which I'm blanking on the name of right now. And I shouldn't be traveling this far, but it's just 1 stitch, so I'm gonna just do it. You can knit them toe up, you can knit them cuff down, you can even start in the middle if you want. You can do all kinds of different heels. There's tons of different heels, different heel types. Okay, so I'm gonna just end this thread because now I have to go to the bottom of the page and I don't want to travel that way again. Here, let's do this. So yeah, so I have several different pairs of socks on the go at any given time, and I've got them in different stages of construction. So, okay, 1 sec, where am I? Here, I'm here, so 3 and 3. So I just finished a pair of socks for my, well, actually they were supposed to be for my husband, and I'm usually very good with sock sizes. I have a template of his foot. If anybody knits socks and knows the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, it's a great sock method, and it helps you get a pair of socks that fits 3, 4 the first time. Even if you're knitting them for somebody that's not around with you, they could be across the country. You just need this template that the pattern tells you how to do. The pattern is only $1, so it's well worth it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I lost his template, his foot template, and I thought I had done the foot long enough. And I thought I had done the heel. I thought I had done the heel properly, but what ended up happening is that sorry, I'm just putting this floss back on the floss card because I'm done with that color on this page, and we're gonna pick another color. Anyways, what ended up happening was that he could not, so I finished the whole sock. Normally I have him try them on when I'm halfway. So I've either done the whole cuff or I've done the whole foot, and then I have him try them on just in case. But what ended up happening was that they didn't fit. He couldn't get his, like the heel basically was too not deep enough, so he couldn't get his foot all the way in. So those socks became my socks, which he was really aggravated about because he really liked that yarn. I have shown it on I did show those socks on my, not the floss tube that I just put out, but the last one. So if you're curious, go check them out. It was really nice. It was Dragon colorway of an opal sock. So I owe him a pair of socks. So I'm knitting him a pair of socks with Lana Grossa, and it's a self-patterning yarn, which is fantastic. I really enjoy it. It's hard wearing. With him, I need to, make sure that the yarn is hard wearing, because he's rough on his socks. He's never, anyways, the socks that I have knit for him, and I've knit at least a dozen pair for him. Some of them are almost 10 years old, and they're just fine. But I do make sure that I use hard wearing sock yarn like opal, that has nylon in it, so that they wear well. It's also great because they're also superwash, so if they end up in the washing machine, it's all good. I wash my socks by hand, with special soap, specifically for socks. Anyways, yeah, so I've got half of one pair of socks completed. So I guess a quarter of a pair of socks completed for him. And this weekend I'm hoping to get the rest of that sock done. So I'm halfway through the heel, and then I just have the cuff to do. So I'm hoping to get that done, and so that I can do the second sock next week, and then start another pair for me, as well as a pair for my daughter and my son, because they both, well, my daughter hasn't really asked me. She doesn't wear socks a lot, to be honest, but my son loves hand knit socks as well. And the ones I've knit him several pairs, but they don't fit him anymore because his feet kept growing. He's now 18, so I'm hoping that his feet have stopped growing, so he stops growing out of them, out of the socks. And I'm not looking forward to knitting his, just for the reason that he's got big feet. So it takes me twice as long to knit my son a pair of socks as it does for me to knit a pair of socks for me. So my husband is so funny. When I first started knitting socks, that was back in 2013, so it's been a long time, 11 years, 12 years. When I first started knitting socks, and so I knit a bunch for myself first, just to get the hang of it, to get, make sure that I had my method down and the steps down. And then I offered my husband a pair of socks. I offered to knit him a pair of socks. And he kept saying, no thanks. So I'd say, well, would you like a hat? And no thanks, I'm good. And so it was always no. So what I decided, because honestly, if you've never worn a pair of socks, I'm just going to mark off the stitches I've got. If you've never worn a pair of hand knit socks, you don't know what you're missing. They are like it's like your feet are wrapped in clouds. They're fantastic. They're not hot. You would think that they would be hot because they're wool, but wool breathes. It's not like cotton. And wool also is more insulating than cotton. But it also, if they get wet for some reason, they keep 80% of their insulating value. So if it's wintertime and you get a bunch of snow in your boots or something, your feet will still be warm. Whereas with cotton socks, of course, your feet would be frozen. And their wool is self-cleaning, so they don't smell like cotton socks do, which is I like. Anyway, so what I did was, going back to my husband, I decided one year, maybe 2015, a couple years later, after I started making socks, I decided I was going to knit everybody in my family a pair of socks. So, I mean, there's just 4 of us, so I knit 4 pairs of socks for Christmas. And I knit them using all the same yarn. No, sorry. 2 of them were the same yarn, and the other 2 were the same yarn. But they were all the same pattern. And what I really wanted was to have a photo, just a cool photo, of all of our feet together in front of the Christmas tree. So that's what I did. And of course, when did I decide to do that? I decided to do that on November 1st. So knitting 4 pairs of socks in a month and a half, when you really hadn't knit that many socks before, and I wasn't very quick. It was a little stressful, but I did it. I managed it. And my kids love them. My son didn't take them off for days. He was pretty young at the time. And my husband decided oh my gosh, now I know what the hype is. And so he loves hand knit socks. So he's always bugging me to knit him more hand knit socks. And when they're all dirty and in the sock basket, he tends to get aggravated because he likes to have hand knit socks to wear. And it was so funny because he actually, even not only does he like them, but he really likes them. Like he keeps bragging to friends and whatnot, because people will always notice, right? Hand knit socks, they have some, the yarn is just amazing. It's got all kinds of fun, colorful patterns and whatnot, and so people always notice his socks. And he always very proudly says that his wife knit them, and how great I am at knitting them. So that makes me feel good. I really like, when you make something, and it's the same thing with cross stitch, I guess. If you're hand making something for someone, and you're putting in all that time and effort and love and sweat and, maybe tears into something, you really want it to be appreciated, right? You don't want it to be sort of thrown to the side and not looked at again for 10 years. And I will only ever hand make something. I'm just going to mark off my stitches again. I will only ever hand make something for people who appreciate it. So my son can have a pair of socks whenever he wants. Well, other than his big feet. And my husband as well. My daughter, she prefers other things like shawls and hats, which is totally fine. I knit something for my, I knit a pair of socks for my mother-in-law as well. I have 2 mother-in-laws, so for one of them. and she absolutely loves them to death. My other mother-in-law, I made her a beautiful shawl, and I've never, ever, 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 ever seen her wear it. I made it as kind of a skinny one so she can use it as a... She always wears scarves in the winter. So I made it so that it was kind of a long, very narrow sort of crescent moon shape. It was beautiful. So she could wear it as a scarf in the winter. And never, never, never. And she actually, I found out she donated it away. Now, when you give a gift to someone, you know, it's out of your hands, right? So they can do with it as they will. So I'm not upset that she donated it, because, you know, somebody will love it, and that's great. Someone will enjoy it. It's better that than sitting in her closet, right? But she never even said thank you for it, or never... Yeah, she just never said anything. Never said thank you. Never said, you know. Well, anyways. So I don't knit her anything anymore. Which, you know, some people just don't like knit things, and that's fine. Some people don't like crochet things. That's absolutely fine. Everybody's different. It's just, for me, if someone gives me a handmade gift that I know took them hours and hours to do, I would, like, this is just me. I would appreciate it, and I would have it. It would be in a special place. Like, it would be in a place of honor, I guess. Even if it was something that I, you know, wouldn't wear or wouldn't use like, even if it was something that wasn't necessarily my style, I would find a use for it. Like, I've used, you know, I had a shawl that I knit when I think one of my first shawls. I didn't know anything about yarn way back when, and I got this really scratchy yarn from Michael's, and I knit a shawl, and the shawl was beautiful, but I couldn't wear it because it was scratchy as heck. So I ended up using it as a like a tablecloth for my bedside table, and it's beautiful. So it just, I love it. It just drapes across there. I see it. I can enjoy it. Yeah, I can enjoy it every day, and it doesn't go to waste. And there goes my dog. So I think I'm going to leave this here. I hope you've enjoyed. I've come to the end of my thread, so I'm going to just end my thread here. And I will see you next time. Bye.